Tropical storm Florence makes landfall, Paul Manafort pleads guilty, SpaceX signs their first traveler. This is OU Nightly.
I do want to emphasize that this is only the beginning. Florence is a very slow mover. We'll continue to trek along the North Carolina and South Carolina coastline for the next 24 to 36 hours.
Florence hits the Carolinas hard and the storm keeps battering the coast. Hello, thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Olivia Whitehead.
And I'm Parker Thune. Breaking news tonight, after claiming at least 4 lives this afternoon, Hurricane Florence has been downgraded to a tropical storm. Wilmington, North Carolina police say the first 2 storm-related deaths were a mother and baby killed when a tree fell on their home.
Although Florence's winds are now around 90 miles an hour, the storm itself is only moving at 5 miles an hour, so flooding and storm surge are extreme concerns. So far, at least 620,000 people are without power.
And the OU Nightly weather team is tracking Florence's progress. Let's get the latest from meteorologist Leah Hill. Leah?
Thanks, guys. So this is a live look right now at WRIGHTVILLE Beach in North Carolina. This is where what was once Hurricane Florence, now Tropical Storm Florence, made landfall. So very dangerous situation over there. And because it's such a slow mover, while it has been downgraded, while the winds are not as strong as they were earlier, because it is moving so slow, the flooding is a major concern. So we currently have severe thunderstorm warnings encompassing the entire storm. As you can see, it is hardly moving at all on this radar. Here's a look at the satellite. It has weakened, as I mentioned. It doesn't have as defined of an eye as it did earlier, but the storm surge is a major concern with this hurricane because all this energy was just built up in the ocean when it was a stronger storm. And because of that, the storm energy has to go somewhere, and it is causing there to be 9 to 15-foot storm surge all along the Northern Carolina and Southern Carolina coast. So here's a look at the watches and warnings. We have severe thunderstorm watches and hurricane watches all the way up through North Carolina and South Carolina. But I'll be talking more about that later. I'll give you another Florence update. I also have some information on this super typhoon that we are seeing in the Philippines. And I've got a little bit on your Oklahoma weather ahead. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Leah. Cross Village has already caused quite the stir since opening on OU's campus. The project has cost the university millions of dollars, and now residents are saying many of the amenities promised to them are not yet available. OUSGA's Mackenzie Cordova says tenants aren't happy, and there could be repercussions next year.
From what I'm hearing from students, if these things aren't resolved, especially the amenities kind of issue, I believe we would see people not re-signing with Cross.
A month into the semester, students are hoping these issues get resolved very quickly.
Following the City of Norman's decision to remove bird scooters from the city property, all eyes are on OU to make their decision on whether or not they can stay on campus. This is because OU is not officially on city property, and the university officials will have to make the call.
But on OU's campus, I think we're trying to do research as to why the birds have come here in the first place, what the liability issues are with them, why Norman is impounding them. So I think a lot, especially within Congress itself, we're just in a pretty research phase of it, seeing what the pros and cons of birds are on campus.
Stay with OU Nightly for developing updates.
The Sooners are out of town, so what's there to do after we watch the game on TV? Coming up on OU Nightly, a popular Norman festival takes center stage in downtown Norman.
And here's a live look at WRIGHTVILLE Beach as now Tropical Storm Florence continues to batter the area. Our coverage of the massive storm continues in a moment.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Scott Haas. Paul Manafort, President Trump's former campaign manager, has pled guilty to conspiracy against the United States and conspiracy to obstruct justice.
And this is for conduct that dates back many years, and everybody should remember that. So thank you, everyone.
As part of his plea deal, Manafort has agreed to cooperate with the special counsel and to forfeit $46 million worth of assets, single-handedly covering the cost of the Mueller investigation. And Hurricane Florence has made landfall in North Carolina as it floods the East Coast. President Trump has been tweeting multiple safety measures for the people in the paths of this hurricane, but has also at the same time denied the official death toll of Puerto Rico, going against some in his administration.
I have no reason to dispute these numbers. I was in Puerto Rico after the hurricane. It was devastated. This was a horrible storm.
Paul Ryan joins with Lindsey Graham and Rick Scott on standing against the president's denial. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh has denied this recent sexual misconduct allegations against him from back when he was in high school. This comes after Senator Dianne Feinstein stated that she was made aware of information regarding Kavanaugh and has since notified federal investigators. The allegation against that Kavanaugh attempted to force himself on the victim at a party while he and his friend tried to muffle her protest. And Parker, Dallas police are being accused of smearing the man killed by a police officer in his own home after police seized 10 grams of marijuana.
Thank you, Scott. After a successful debut last year, the Norman Film Fest is back for round 2. Here's OU Nightly's Sam Brown with all of the details on tomorrow's big event.
Stickers and coupons, these small goodie bags aren't the only treat festival goers can expect at the Norman Film Fest tomorrow. The real treat is the stuff on the big screen.
We have over 100 films for the Norman Film Festival, and it's a great event. I mean, people need to come out and enjoy the films.
Just one day away, volunteers and organizers are hard at work preparing for the big day. But by no means is this festival a last-second effort.
Our open call for submissions runs from about January 1st to July 1st.
In 6 months, Spivey and the Norman Film Foundation received about 600 films from nearly 20 countries all around the world. Many of the submissions also came from right here in the Sooner State.
We accept films from all over the world, and we tried with the programming to give a little bit of a grading curve towards local films.
Representation isn't the only thing that makes Norman's Film Festival different.
What sets it apart from other film festivals is the value. Like, I wanted to make a film festival that was more for every community member and not just for industry professionals.
Last year was actually the first year for the Norman Film Fest, and about 300 people came out to places like the Sooner Theater to check out some of the films. But Spivey expects actually a much bigger turnout this time around.
My board tells me at least 1,000, but you know, I'm happy with anybody that shows up, honestly. I just wanted to share this, event and share films with Norman.
Mission accomplished. Spivey is expecting a record attendance, which means more goodie bags and more eyes on the silver screens. Sam Brown, OU Nightly.
The Norman Film Fest takes place on Main Street and will run from noon to midnight tomorrow. If you're interested in going, you can buy tickets online at normanfilmfest.com.
SpaceX signed the first private traveler for Elon Musk's design mission to the moon. The same mission stands to fly around the moon, but the strategy shifted, calling for a larger rocket and one traveler instead of 2. The original plan to use a Falcon Heavy rocket is being replaced by a Big Falcon rocket, which is deemed a better selection for tourism travel. The reveal on who is going and when the flight to the moon will be is being announced on Monday at the company's headquarters in Hawthorne, California. And another live look at Tropical Storm Florence. This is the view from Wilmington Beach, North Carolina. Meteorologist Leah Hill joins us with the very latest on the storm next.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I have another update on Tropical Storm Florence. Take a look at this satellite imagery of the storm. It is just a beast of a tropical storm, and it is currently impacting the North Carolina and the South Carolina coast. While it has weakened some, the storm surge is a major concern with this storm, and the fact that it's such a slow mover is making the situation very dangerous. So here is Wrightsville Beach. This is in North Carolina, right where the storm made landfall earlier this morning. You can see the camera shaking because of how strong these winds are coming off of the ocean water. So here's a radar view of that as well. Hardly moving at all, moving at about 5 miles per hour, which most of us can run faster than that. So very slow mover. And storm surge is also, as again I mentioned, a major concern. We do have what could be 9 to 13 foot waves, and that is along Northern Carolina. Other parts of the states are also going to be seeing these very high waves, and that is just going to cause lots of flooding in that area. So Florence, like I mentioned, is now a tropical storm. It did make landfall at 7:15 this morning. Catastrophic flooding and the storm surge is the main concern, and we still do have those hurricane watches and warnings in effect. So this is the rainfall totals that we've seen already within the past 24 hours. Over 15 inches of rain near New Bern. They have seen lots of flooding in that area where the floodwaters are up towards the windows. Here down near Wilmington, again, almost 15 inches of rain in that area as well. So very dangerous situation, and more rain is going to be on the way with this tropical storm. They might see upwards of another 16 inches of rain in the North Carolina area where the storm did make landfall. So very dangerous situation. Thankfully, a lot of evacuations were done beforehand, but we did hear that people are still trapped in some of their homes. So this is the steering pattern for the storm. Because of all this high pressure around it, it is not going to be moving very fast, but as we go throughout the next couple of days, it is finally going to weaken into a low pressure system and then move off towards the east. But this isn't the only tropical activity we're seeing right now. We also have Super Typhoon Mangkhut that had just hit the Philippines. It is a Category 5, so very strong overall. But here in Oklahoma, we're seeing none of that. We do have very nice clear weather across the state. We're going to reach the lows in the 70s. Highs for tomorrow are going to be in the 90s. And as we go throughout the next couple days, we do have some slight rain chances. And temperatures are going to be warming back up to the 90s.
Thank you, Leah. In an effort to aid storm relief efforts, a tech giant is making a significant financial contribution. Apple CEO Tim Cook tweeted Friday morning that the company will donate $1 million to the Red Cross to help those affected by Tropical Storm Florence. Apple has historically made similar donations in the wake of natural disasters, including Hurricane Harvey and the California wildfires.
Well, that's it for news this Friday night, but don't leave just yet. Big Friday Sports is on deck.
Our sports team gives you an extended look at what's happening in sports. Shiloh Sellers is here with a glimpse of what's ahead.
Today on Big Friday Sports, it's football talking time as the Oklahoma Sooners head to the home of the Cyclones. And Sooners are hungry for revenge heading into tomorrow's game after suffering a loss against ISU last fall. We've got the scoop on Ames when we come back. Big Friday Sports is next.
You are looking at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. All appears peaceful right now, but tomorrow morning the stands will be full and two teams will be ready and raring to go.
The Oklahoma Sooners kick off against the Iowa State Cyclones at 11 a.m. Sooners have revenge fresh on their minds after losing to ISU here at home. Hello and welcome to Big Friday Sports. I'm Shiloh Sellers and he's Spencer Royce. And we're both glad you're here joining us on a Fall Football Friday.
We have a lot in store for you over the next 15 minutes, a pair of reports from Ames, plus a look at how Florence is affecting the college football schedule this weekend and beyond.
So let's get things started the way we usually do. The Sooners open conference play tomorrow when they visit the Cyclones.
Our Game Day U team is in Ames for the big battle and Collin Kennedy heads up the coverage.
Collin, take it away.
We have arrived. Jack Trice Stadium will play host to Oklahoma and Iowa State tomorrow for the Sooners' first away game of the season. And it's about that time that this Sooner team lights the fire that they had every single time they stormed an opponent's field. This team certainly loves quieting the crowd and enjoys the hostility they face every single outing.
We love playing on the road, and playing on the road's great. You know, it's awesome playing here and having, 89,000 people cheer you on, but it's a different feeling when you're on the road and everyone's booing you.
All right, now a lot that goes into quieting a crowd is a strong offensive performance. And Josh, what do the Sooners need to do offensively to quiet said crowd?
Well, you know, a big thing to always do on the road is get the run game started, and obviously no Rodney Anderson. Okay, he's out for the season now, so it's going to be up to Trey Sermon to get it going. After him, maybe Marcellus Sutton, TJ Pledger, Kennedy Brooks. One of those guys needs to be a good second option. You get the run game established, it opens it up for Kyler Murray, CeeDee Lamb, and Marquise Brown can go off, and the offense will really start flowing, and they'll put up a lot of points quick, settle in. First road game for, you know, a lot of these guys. Kyler hasn't played a Big 12 game on the road, so, you know, it'd be nice to get the run game settled in, and it just opens it up for everybody else in the offense.
You have to think if they dominate the line of scrimmage, things will look pretty good for the Sooners moving forward. All right, that's what we have for now, but we come back at Jack Trice. Madeline Roberts will join me, and we'll talk some Sooner defense. It's had a pretty strong showing so far through the season. We'll preview what they have to do this Saturday.
Nobody has forgotten the 38-31 defeat that OU suffered at the hands of Iowa State last year.
That loss ended up being the only blemish on an otherwise perfect regular season for the Sooners.
The craziest part of the L is that the Sooners led all statistical categories except for one, the final score.
This team understands that they can't let the game come to them or get complacent.
In any position or any time throughout the game, I mean, we had a decent lead going into halftime, and I think we just kind of lost our edge coming out into the second half, and you always got to play on edge no matter who you play.
If you let a good team like that hang around, you give them opportunities every now and then, you're going to get beat, and we did. And so, I mean, they were, you know, a lot of people probably didn't believe it before our game, but obviously after our game, and they went on and beat TCU and several other really good football teams, I mean, people figured out pretty quick that these guys are good.
Looking back to last Saturday when the Sooners defeated UCLA, beast of a running back Rodney Anderson sustained a season-ending right knee injury.
Going into Ames tomorrow, how will the Sooner offense respond? Our own Tori Johnson gives us the latest.
I think the phrase of the week around here has been poor Rodney. He's had injury after injury, and right here on Saturday, he did it again, hurting his knee and ending his season just 2 games in. He was able to stay healthy last year, and in his first full season, Anderson rushed 1,161 yards and had 13 rushing touchdowns. This year, he was already on a Heisman watch list and projected to be selected in the first round of the NFL draft. So, how will the Sooners fare without him?
We hate it from Rodney, but our expectations aren't any different.
As the team likes to say, we too deep.
Not a perfect scenario for us, but no doubt the depth that we've, you know, been able to bring in that room is impactful.
OU is left in good hands with Trey Sermon and Marcellus Sutton. Sermon played in all 14 games last season and had 744 rushing yards and 5 rushing TDs. Sutton played in 13 games last season and was the Sooners' top kickoff returner. But as for Rodney,
I told him I don't think this injury is going to have any impact on the rest of his career in football, other than it's just going to delay it a few months. I mean, this guy's so mentally tough. He's so physically gifted. He'll probably come back better. I mean, I would be shocked if he doesn't, whoever he's playing for.
Lincoln Riley's made it clear he's playing football next season. But the question is, will it be in crimson and cream, or will we have to watch him on Sundays? Tori Johnson, Big Friday Sports.
Still to come on Big Friday Sports, Shiloh and I will give you our keys to the Sooner game this Saturday.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I've got your game day forecast for you. When you're up in Iowa for the football game, it is going to be in about the mid-80s, and it is going to be on the humid side because of all the corn in that area. It does make it feel very humid there in Ames, Iowa. I've got one last look at this tropical storm for you. Again, a very slow mover. It has weakened, though, however, which is good news. And because of these wind values that we are seeing, it is now categorized as a tropical storm. That's all I've got. Back to you guys at the desk for more sports.
Thanks, Leah, and welcome back to Big Friday Sports. Hope you didn't miss us too much. But due to the Hurricane Florence moving in on the East Coast, there were a handful of college games, moved around and even canceled.
Yeah, Shiloh, it's always better to be safe than sorry, so here are the teams that are not risking the rain. The games that were canceled completely were Virginia Tech and East Carolina, West Virginia and NC State, UCF and North Carolina, and finally South Carolina versus Marshall. Personally, I would love to play a game in a hurricane. I think that'd be something to remember for the rest of your life.
And count me out of that one, Spencer. There were also some games moved around due to the weather as well. The Old Dominion Charlotte game and Boston College Wake Forest were moved up, and they actually played yesterday afternoon. Plus, Norfolk State and Liberty now have to wait until December 1st to play each other again.
Now let's throw it back to Ames, Iowa for a defensive preview for tomorrow's game. Collin and Madeline, what do you got for us?
All right, let's talk some Sooner defense. We're back at Jack Trice, and Madeline Roberts joins me now. And Madeline, the Sooner D, strong so far, but another challenge they await on Saturday. What do they have to do to continue this momentum?
That's right, Collin. They've looked good so far, but I don't think they've faced a player with the caliber of David Montgomery.
True.
The Cyclones' star running back. He's a strong back, definitely one of the best in the Big 12, and they haven't faced anything like him. And especially if Cyclones starting quarterback Kyle Kempt doesn't play tomorrow, they'll look to go to Montgomery a lot. So the Sooner defense has looked good shutting down backs in their first two games, but obviously this one is on the road, so it's a little bit of a different animal to tackle. We'll see what they can do tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. And of course, Zeb Nolan might be the guy for the Cyclones if Kyle Kempt is not ready to go. All right, 8 to 10 a.m. Game Day U here from Jack Trice. You're going to want to tune in as we preview this game and everything else going on in college football. Make sure you watch on Saturday morning.
So it turns out that Shiloh and I know exactly what OU needs to do in order to win this weekend. So Shiloh, what's your key for this game?
My key to this game is to put the ball in Lamb's hands. Last Saturday, we saw some beautiful catches by CeeDee Lamb. Kyler Murray and Lamb have given us some great plays these last two games, many of which ended with 6 added points. Now, the Cyclones do have a commendable defense, but if Kyler Murray and the crew continue doing what they have thus far, I think the Sooners will come back home with a win.
Me too.
What about you, Spencer? What are your key?
My key for the game is actually very simple. OU has to score quickly and just set the tone early. If the offensive line can assert their dominance while Oklahoma's array of playmakers do their thing, it should result in points early and often. On paper, Iowa State does not match up at all with OU, and the easiest way to squash the Cyclones' hopes is to not let them hang around early. So, what do you think the score is going to be this weekend? How are you feeling about the game?
I think it's going to be a 7-45 OU for sure.
That's exactly the same score I had. That's crazy. On the same
We're
wavelength.
one and the same.
But that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching.
We leave you with some of the Sooners' best from last Saturday's blowout win over UCLA.
Be sure to join us Monday for OU Nightly and Sooner Sports Pad. Have a great weekend.
First down and goal at the 10. Sermon. No, it's Murray on the option, and he scores. Kyler Murray